I looked at all the different treatments and chose HIFU, high intensity frequency ultrasound. Similar to when a woman's having a baby, that's low frequency. This, they put a sort of a toothbrush up your back passage and blast the individual pieces of cancer. When I went along that route, they took a template biopsy. The first biopsy, they took 13 pieces out. This 32, I thought, blimey, this is only the size of a walnut, can't be much left, really. But they found that it was all over the place. It was in 75% of it, so I didn't have an option. They couldn't blast little bits of it, which they do under the HIFU treatment, so I had to go back and had radical robotic prostatectomy, which is where they do it with a robot. It's Da Vinci, and you lay there, the machine's over there, and it's like playing a video game.
So what made you choose the first treatment? What made you decide on that particular one?
Because there was less chance of erectile dysfunction, because normally they would hit the individual pieces and the nerves that cause you to get an erection go round the organ. And if you hit the individual little pieces of cancer, then you've got less chance of affecting those nerves. If you have it out, as I did, they peel from the inside, they bundle the nerves underneath, so it takes quite a time for the nerves to get used to it, because the bladder drops into the orifice, and you've got more chance of erectile dysfunction, or it can take longer for it to come back. But unfortunately, I couldn't have that particular treatment.
But it was making that decision that sort of put you in turmoil, wasn't it?
It was. And in fact, it could have killed me, because going along that route kept me an extra 9 months from between the July, the diagnosis, and the February when I had the operation. And that tiny little seed could have come out of the margin during that time. Luckily, it didn't. But I was going along the route I wanted, and then had to revert back to the one that I thought about to start with. I think also there's thought that the treatment is the finality, but it isn't really. It's only the start. It's the start, because you've then got to think about the operation, the aftermath of the operation. You've got to get your head around that, how you get back to work. When you get back to work, is it going to come back? If it does, how am I going to notice it? How am I going to react? And all these things. And there doesn't seem to be that backup support, even when you once you're over the hurdle, especially when you've had a finite operation, it's gone. Okay, you've got a catheter. That led to some fun. I didn't expect it would, because on the internet people were hitting catheters with trauma and trepidation, and I found it fun. You don't have to think about weeing. You have to think about it when your leg gets a bit.
When your leg's hot and you need to empty the bag.
Exactly, and you haven't got a toilet, but you can just pretend to undo your shoelace and have a wee. But so there are some funny sides to these dreadful things. But these are little small, little bits of humour in between the worry of is it going to come back? With our cancer, we've got skating on thin ice for about 2 years, and I'm quite a way through that. But 45% apparently come back with men with prostate cancer, where the odd cell has been left behind. So there is this uncertainty, and there doesn't seem to be the backup service to sort of say, look, if you are uncertain, come along, have a chat. Because I'm sure it does affect, I don't feel it's affecting me, but I'm sure it must be affecting my work or, my relationship with my wife, and I don't know. Maybe it is, and I don't realise it.
It's what I call the shadow. It's the shadow
It's the
that's
shadow,
always in the background.
Brilliant way of looking at it.
I always call it the shadow.
We've all got that now, haven't we?
I was given all the information about the treatment that I was actually having there and then, but it was just all the other stuff, really. The stuff that sort of happens months and years down the line that probably the consultants I was seeing then couldn't answer. But those were the things that really I wanted to know everything at once. Maybe that wasn't possible, but I just wish that I'd had a bit of a fuller picture, really, as to what to expect later on after the treatment was over. Because it's quite hard, because sometimes, like you were saying, that's sometimes when everything stops and then you leave hospital and because you're physically well, everyone just thinks, oh, we must be fine now. But sometimes it's not necessarily as easy as that, is it?
Cocoon was the word that I used, in as much as, when you're in hospital and in clinics and having treatment, etc., you are in that big cotton wool ball.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Then you're let loose, aren't you?
they've done their job, which,
Yeah.
you know, you can't thank them enough for,
Yeah.
but the knock on, the fallout from that is where,
Feel a bit lost, don't you?
yeah, completely bewildered.
You've had all their support, and then suddenly they say, "Oh, you can go home now."